Hey, what's going on, guys? So back here we have half an XR80. This is my girlfriend's bike. We're just going through, cleaning this thing up piece by piece, turning out really good so far. But what we're gonna be doing today is something I've never done on the channel before, and that is exhaust ceramic coating. So a high heat coating that's gonna cover the exhaust system from front to back, really durable coating, and it's gonna take the place of all the rustiness and crustiness that's on the exhaust right now. And by the end of the video, this system is going to be looking prime. As you guys can see, this exhaust is pretty old and crappy looking. Now it's a nice exhaust system. It's a full BBR setup and they don't make it anymore, but definitely worth fixing up. Wow, I cannot believe someone let this nice pipe get this crusty. Where do we even start? Just gonna pull everything apart actually. Drill the rivets, remove the can, pop off the end cap, remove the packing, take off the heat shield, and just completely go through this whole system. All right, we've got all the rivets drilled out. Let's see if we can wiggle this thing loose. Pretty dang crusty. It's coming though. Sweet. Not too bad. Doesn't look like that packing's in too bad a shape, but we're gonna have to go ahead and replace it anyways while we have this whole thing apart. Pop it off the core. Ooh. And that's about it for the muffler can. I'm gonna go ahead and recoat this as well. Looks like the anodizing's pretty faded and scraped up, so that'll look nice all cleaned up too. Ooh, these heat shield bolts are a little crusty. Stripping out on me. See if we can get the front one out. These things are stuck in there pretty good. Guess I'm just gonna have to drill these things out. So I got one of the bolts drilled out. I'm gonna see if I can spin the guard and get this other one loose. Pretty freaking hot though. That didn't work, so I'm just gonna have to drill out both of them actually. Ooh. I think it moved it a little bit. At least we got one of them. Sweet. Now for the bolt that I had to drill out, I'm gonna drill a hole in the center of it. Hopefully that relieves some of the pressure on the threads. Then I'm gonna heat it up, jam a Torx bit in there, and hopefully thread it out. Let's see if it works. And now that I can get to the threads, I'm gonna spray some penetrating lubricant on it. Hopefully loosen things up in there. And now for the Torx bits, I've got this whole set here. I'm just gonna find a size that fits right inside of there. Hopefully I have to like pound it in there. That should work. All right, here is moment of truth. Hell yeah, she's coming out. Always does the trick. All right, the exhaust is completely apart. So the parts we'll be coating are gonna be the pipe itself, the can, the heat shield, and the end cap. So these pieces I'm gonna be bead blasting over here in the blast cabinet. And then the pipe is pretty crusty and rusty. So I'll have to use something more aggressive like a Scotch-Brite wheel. And then while I'm over there, gonna clean that up with the wheel as well. I'll show you the wheels I'm using over here. This is a more rough type wheel. It'll rip right through all that rust. And then this is a finer wheel and it'll clean up the core really nicely. And of course, whenever you're doing any sort of sanding or grinding, you want to use a nice respirator. This is a 3M brand. I'll link it down below. And a set of glasses. And one tip I learned from one of you guys actually is when you're not using the respirator, throw it in a Ziploc bag, like the one I have down there. That'll keep from crap getting inside of there. Everything is now Scotch Brighted and bead blasted, ready to spray out. Honestly, I'm super tempted just to leave this pipe how it is. It turned out unreal. Those Scotch Brite pads really work some magic on steel. Seriously guys, if you do not have a set of those pads on your bench grinder, you are way behind the times, boy. I will link them down below. So I'm gonna drop the sandblasted pieces into some acetone, let them soak for 30 minutes, and then wipe down the pipe with acetone. This part I'm not gonna coat. And then after the acetone, gonna bake them through the oven at 300 degrees for an hour, just for a gas out. That ensures there's nothing left on the part and makes for a good bond with the Cerakote. Now the Cerakote I'm using for the header portion of the exhaust is a high temp air dry in cobalt color. So it's like a dark charcoal. And so I did some reading on the air dry product, and Cerakote highly recommends applying it over a blasted surface. So I'm gonna have to pop this pipe in the blaster and prep it up. All right, so now we're at the point where the pipe has been sandblasted, ran it through the oven for a gas out, and we're ready to spray. So what exactly is this ceramic coating? So it's a really thin, hard coating that has great resistance against corrosion, rust, abrasion, and chemicals. You spray it out of an HVLP gun like this one here. And to cure it, you can either run the part through the oven, or they have air cure options like this one here. So the brand I choose to use is Cerakote. They are undoubtedly the leader in ceramic coatings. Tons and tons of colors on their website, and their customer service is unrivaled. So it's a no-brainer. Now for the air cure product, it just needs to be shaken up really good, poured into the gun, and it's ready to spray. Really simple. Now the reason I went with a air cure on this pipe is honestly I didn't think it would fit in the oven, so I just wanted to be safe, and I bought the air cure product. However, I could have used an oven cure product as well. Color's looking really good. So it takes about a half hour for it to tack up, and to fully cure, it's about 5 days. So don't want to get the exhaust hot within those 5 days. Now for the muffler can, I will be using a oven cure cobalt, so that same dark charcoal, and I'm gonna mix it at a 12:1 ratio for a semi-gloss finish. So I'll be using 24 milliliters of the cobalt to 2 milliliters of the catalyst. And I like to mix it up in these little glass beakers here. I think this color should look pretty cool. It's like a shade under black and not quite gray, so kind of a unique color. So if you guys are going to be doing lots of painting, sanding, or grinding in your shop, I would definitely recommend getting a ventilation system like an exhaust fan. So this thing sucks all those fumes and dust right out the side of the shop. When you're painting, you literally can't smell a thing. And then sanding here or grinding with the buffer here sucks all that dust right outside. Got a speed dial here on the wall. Thing just absolutely rips, just sucks everything right outside, and during the summer it's pretty nice having cool air come through the shop too. So I bought this one on Amazon and installed it a couple months ago. Pretty easy to install, just had to wire it up and cut a hole inside the shop. But for those of you that are interested, I will link it down below in the description. So now I've had this sitting for 15 minutes, and now it's time to pop it in the oven for the curing process. Now for the gun I'm using, it is just a cheap Harbor Freight one, but whatever one you're using, make sure it has a 0.8 millimeter tip. And then when you're spraying, you gotta make sure it's going on wet. If you're spraying with too low of pressure or from too far away, it'll end up with like a dry film, and it'll be super textured and uneven. Now the last two pieces I'll be coating are gonna be done up in burnt bronze. So you guys are familiar with this color, one of my favorite colors, and we're gonna be doing this at a 12:1 ratio as well. What do you guys think? It's a pretty cool color combo, I like it. Now to finish her up, we're gonna need some 4-stroke exhaust packing. This is Lex brand, snagged that from Rocky Mountain. We're gonna need some high heat RTV sealant for the seams, rivet gun, and some rivets. Now, whenever you're working with packing, I would recommend wearing some gloves and a long sleeve. You don't want those fibers getting into your skin. So we're gonna have to cut down this packing a little bit. Actually, if I go this way, I should be able to get 2 uses out of it. So I'm pretty much just gonna cut this right in half down the middle. Now, before you start rolling, you wanna make sure your core is clean and there's not a bunch of carbon buildup on it. So it's pretty simple, just start rolling it up. And you don't want to go too tight. The purpose of the packing is to have some volume and absorb the sound. If you pack it too tight, it's really not going to absorb the sound too much. So we're going to do about 1 full roll. I'll overlap it a little bit, right about till there. Clearly I didn't do very good in art class. It's not a very straight cut. Just roll her up, and then we're going to use some masking tape to secure it. Grab the muffler can. We're gonna make sure this isn't too tight of a fit inside of there. Once again, you don't want that packing super tight. Yeah, that's about a perfect fit right there. So we're gonna put a little bit of sealant right around this ring here. We've got a pretty roached out tube of RTV here. Come on, I'm on a budget. Don't judge. Just gonna press this setup together now. Put a little sealant on this as well. Just gonna slide these 2 together. Try to tuck all that packing inside of there. Make sure these rivets are gonna fit in there. Looks like the right size. So for those of you that haven't seen the workings of a rivet, these things are pretty cool. I'll show you what's up with them. So there's a pin in the middle, and the rivet gun pulls the pin through this outer casing and creates like a bulged end on this side, and that's what binds or holds the 2 pieces together that you're riveting. So you just feed the rivet into the gun, and I'll show you what it looks like when the rivet is coming together. See how it's getting a little bit bulged on the end? Pardon my lack of a better word for it. So you can see the pin is coming down in the casing, and then when you squeeze it, it'll actually break the pin off inside. Pin drops out of there, and now the rivet has a nice clean look on the outside with that pin sheared off. Gonna get a hold of it with the rivet gun and give it a little pop. Fuck. Ow, pinched my nipple. I found some fresh hardware for the heat shield and end cap, so let's get this thing finished up. And I'm gonna use some anti-seize so these bolts don't get stuck like they were before. Alright guys, we are 100% done. Now that it's all together, I actually really dig that color combo. It goes well together. So let's see how it matches up with the rest of the bike. Dude, it's amazing what a little elbow grease will do. I think this setup looks better than new. So for you guys looking to do some exhaust coatings, you can do this stuff on a 4-stroke exhaust like we did here, or on a 2-stroke. You could do it on the pipe and silencer, and I think it would look pretty sick to have this pipe clear Cerakoted to protect all that heat treating I did. Really tempted to do it. So yeah, you can get really creative with all the stuff that Cerakote has to offer. So I would recommend heading over to their website and checking out all the colors they have. I'll link their website down below, and let me know down in the comment section what color you think would look good on exhaust. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video, and in the next couple videos you'll be seeing the CR250. Really pumped to get back to work on it. If you guys want to see a little behind the scenes teasers of all the projects I've been working on, head over to Instagram and check out my page. I'll put the username right up here on the bottom of the screen. I'll see you guys soon. Keep it prime.